2019 special meeting of the City Council. The clerk will call the roll and record attendance.
Anderson Burgos.
Anderson Burgos.
Hartley.
Here.
Bresnahan.
Here.
Leahy.
Present.
LeBrun Martinez.
Here.
Lisi.
Here.
McGee. Here. McGiverin. Here. Roman. Sullivan.
Here.
Roman's long gone.
Forgot to cross him off. Sullivan.
Here.
Tallman.
Here.
Bacon.
Here.
Valentine.
Here.
Everyone stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. God bless America.
City of Hoyoke.
And the City Council.
The Patriots.
We have 3 items on the agenda. We have the public comment for Ward 2 residents interested in the Ward 2 City Council position, the appointment vote, and Order 3, something we might want to go to first, is a request from free cash for $403,804.41.
Motion to take up item number 3.
Motion is to go out of order to item 3. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed?
Make a motion to receive, refer to Committee on Finance.
Motion is to
Second.
receive and refer to finance. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those
Mr. President,
opposed?
the Finance Committee has got a scheduled meeting for this Monday, the 14th, to take up that item and other items that are in the jacket.
Okay, Monday the 14th at 6:30.
Just point of order, Mr. President.
Yes.
Are we going to pick out from the bucket who's going to go first?
If that's the will of the body, normally when
Well, there's
appointing,
no other rule that I've ever seen written.
It's-
I've heard it oral presentation. Show me the rule. So
we
but
can look up
but-
rules,
but-
Counselor. We don't have to get testy. The argument once
getting
again
testy.
is,
We're just
do
having
you
a conversation. That's your
want
interpretation, but you're
to
wrong.
go alphabetically, which is what we have done constantly, or does the will of the body
Years
want
I've
to
been
pull
here,
the
it's
name?
alphabetical.
Well, we've had an exception. Last time we didn't go alphabetical.
You're afraid to vote first. I mean, we,
All right, enough. Order.
Let's not waste
order.
time. Let's not waste time on
random.
these
We're wasting
things.
time. Enough.
Then you offer yourself to go first.
All right.
you are afraid?
There
Mr.
you go.
President,
There was
Please,
no
I'll solve
motion, so we'll move on. Counselor Valentin.
I'm happy to make a suggestion that we go reverse, and I'll happy to be first.
There you go.
Oh, we can go backwards. Is that all right for? Second that motion. Motion is seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed?
Not sure if the city clerk's in favor of that.
Well, that's why, but we'll go slowly.
One order or a different order.
One point to note out before we get started. I did receive word from our administrative assistant, Ryan Allen. His grandmother passed away today. As we all know, he's been telling us about it, and unfortunately it happened today. He will be out for a few days. I bring it up to your attention if you're filing orders, you're looking for orders, you're trying to set up a committee meeting. Please contact the clerk's office in order to make sure we meet deadlines. Ryan's going to be out for a few days to this unfortunate situation. Councilor LeBron Martinez.
For condolences and courtesy, can we take a moment of silence at least on behalf of his family?
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you.
And we'll ask, as we know about the flower fund that we heard about, we'll ask that if it's everyone's will that we send flowers
Absolutely.
to the family. Okay. So with that, the first item on the agenda is item number 1, public comment from Ward 2 residents interested in being appointed to the vacant Ward 2 City Council position. To the body, would we like to 5, 10 minutes? How do you want to do it? What's the will?
3
To have them
minutes?
come up? What?
2 or 3 minutes?
Second.
So 2 to 3 minutes?
3 minutes.
I said
3
5.
minutes? 3
I
minutes?
say 5 minutes.
5 minutes seems
5.
sufficient. It's kind of like an interview. So 5?
Yeah.
Yes.
All those in favor of 5
Aye.
minutes? All
Aye.
opposed? We'll try and be somewhat generous. So anyone who is interested, I ask you to come to the mic, state your name, address, and then in essence tell us about yourself and your interest in the Ward 2 City Council position. I do not have a list in front of me, so I know that we did receive emails and the Personnel Department received 2 resumes and interests, so.
Todd?
Yep, Councilor.
I just have a question. I was notified by most people, but I've also heard there's other people that are interested in as well. And one of the people that I was told that is interested also holds a city job now and also a board member. So I just wanted to ask you, or maybe through the chair to the legal department, if that's a person that we're eligible even voting for?
I think you can vote for anyone, Counselor, is if they do have a conflict after accepting it, they'd have to step away from the position where the conflict is, or not take this one. We've seen it before where someone was elected to a seat but worked for the city, they got sworn in, and then they immediately stepped away because it was a conflict. You can't hold both jobs. So if someone is appointed tonight, and they have a conflict, they'll have to remove themselves from that, or they won't be able to take the seat.
Okay,
So we still can vote. We have every right to vote.
thank you.
Councilor Sullivan.
So if that person got chosen and then they stepped away, we'd go through this whole process all over again.
Technically, that could happen.
Okay.
Well, Mr. President,
Councilor Bartley.
just to expand upon that for a second. So, fortunately, we have a city charter, and it says, Section 23 of the city charter, if this person is more than eligible to have a vote for the city council, the question becomes whether that person can receive a second salary, and that answer is no. So if that person that the good counselor is referring to, who already has a public position with the city of Holyoke, is elected tonight, that person, per the city charter and also per Section 268 of the state law, has to pick one salary or the other. So either you take your city council salary at $10,000 a year, or you take your municipal position, whatever that salary is. I have no idea what that salary is. Furthermore, if that person, who I believe the counselor is referring to, who currently serves on the Holyoke Housing Authority Board of Commissioners, furthermore, that position would go away as well. So in essence, the candidate would be a municipal employee, would no longer be eligible to be a commissioner of the Holyoke Housing Authority, and would serve on this body at no cost to the taxpayer. So there'd be no salary remitted. Now, that's per 268A and the state and our charter. Now, that's my interpretation of how I read it, but you can take that with a grain of salt if you want, but that's how I read it.
Anyone else? No? So with that, we'll go to the candidates. If you'd like, please step up. Can you test the microphone to... Perfect. So please state your name, your address, and we'll go from there.
Good afternoon. Thank you for having me here. I am Marilyn, and I am the the person that you guys are all talking about. I live at 20 Resnick Boulevard and in Holyoke, Mass. And I've been in Ward 2 for most of my life. Well, I want to start with thanking you for this opportunity and reading my letter of interest. As you all know, my name is Marilyn Sanabria, and I want to start off by telling you about my background and why I'm interested for Ward 2 vacancy. As a lifelong resident, I am fortunate to call Holyoke my hometown, and I am proud of it. I attended Holyoke Public Schools and graduated from Dean Tech. My interest has always been to advocate for parents and guardians, students, and also community members. I am very passionate and energetic when it comes to helping people and getting involved in city projects. Living in Ward 2 most of my life, I always saw the need of our community and how Ward 2 was so much in need, but many times leadership was lacking. For the past few years, I have noticed positive momentum and more re-engagement with the community. There is more work needed to be done, and I want to be part of it. I want residents to feel safe in their neighborhoods, more activities for our children, and continue addressing issues that unfortunately aren't being addressed and neglected. With an increase with our Hispanic population, these issues are more important. I have been on the Housing Board of Commissioners since 2008, when former Michael Sullivan appointed me as a tenant commissioner. Being on the Housing Board has been a great opportunity to learn more about the city and our community needs. I participated in the discussions and decisions regarding Lyman Terrace redevelopment project. I am looking forward to supporting many other projects in our cities to improve the quality of our residents. I am employed as the Holyoke School Counseling Clerk at Holyoke High School. I've been working for the Holyoke Public Schools system for 18 years. I take pride of my job. I enjoy working with youth and their families because it gives me an opportunity to engage and gain their trust. Living in Holyoke all my life, it always felt that only particular groups of people could be elected to serve as city councilors. But for the past several years, I've seen many changes in the chamber that have motivated me to serve in my city. I believe that a strong present voice is needed to continue to represent Ward 2. It is my hope that I have your vote tonight, and I pledge to continue working and advocating for our residents. Again, I want to thank you all for being here, and I am committed to being as honest and transparent as I can be in answer in order for you to gain a sense of the council person I will be. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Are there any questions for the candidate? Normally, I don't think we did it last time, but seeing how she only used 2 minutes, she has 5. That's what we asked. All right, if not, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Next candidate, Lopez.
Thank you, Mr. President. And I just want to go over some of the issues that we are facing in Ward 2. And I have a list. I just want to see if we can start moving forward. I'm going to start by just saying that the waterfront is vacant. And if you go by, there's a big mess, trash, a lot of issues there. I'm not happy that the property is not being taken care. It's completely wide open and potential for a fire. The other one that I would like to mention to you is Springdale Town Hall. I would like to see a plan for either to demolish that building or to make sure that we're capable and able to put a fire out in that area, especially in that corner. So I want to see if we can bring some of this issue back and make sure that we put them in front of the city council, the fire department, and any other department of the city. The other, the vacant lot on Maple and Jackson Street, I would like to see if we can build a little house or a single house there. We don't have a lot of houses in Ward 2, especially in the Churchill area. So that's one of the issues that I would like to work, even knowing that the city council spent a lot of money taking that building down. So it's time to bring it back to the task roll, if it's possible. I just want to go over some of the issues. I've been going around meeting with a lot of the residents since December 5th. And we have a lot of issues. We do have a lot of issues in Ward 2. For example, on the corner of Elm and Jackson Street, people are just, for whatever reason, they just like to drive illegal, and they just turning into the one way. And a lot of the neighbors there have been talking to me and trying to see how we're going to address that issue. And if I'm elected, I would like to meet with the housing manager and make sure that every tenant and the homeowners make sure that it's not fair to be driving illegally coming into Elm Street. And if that doesn't work, hopefully with the police department, we will have to handle that one. One of the biggest issues that I get from some of the students from Holyoke High and Peck School, 391 Commercial Street in Jackson. We need to do something with that intersection. I would like to see if we can invite the state delegation to see if we can put even a pedestrian signal there or whatever we have to, because somebody's gonna get killed. I know that we have in that intersection a lot of car accidents. People, they don't start coming from 391. So that's gonna be a priority if I'm back at the city council. some of the other issues that we're facing in Ward 2, if you go by 391 underpass, by Ray Street, the underpass, right now that whole area is messy. We have a homeless living there. I do have photos. I can give them to you if you want. So we have to do something about that. I met with a lot of the residents on South Summer Street. We have issue with sidewalk and some of the trees that we have to trim down because during the summer, they're not able to open the windows. The squirrel will go into the apartment, into their apartment. So that's another issue. We have issue with needles. If you go down to Jackson Parkway, Jackson Park, Chestnut Street Park, and Valley Arena, that's something that I would like to take care and see if we can clean up the park with the Parks Department and Tapestry and see if we can put a program to handle that issue. And with the city council, anyone who's willing to help us. Then I met with some of the homeowners on Berkshire Street. They're having some issues there. So we are going to meet with some of the businesses to see if we can hammer that out also. Some of the trailers that are walking by or running by the street, they're going into their property basically and ruin their property. So we need to see how we're going to take care of that. I want to meet with the residents and the businesses first. And just want to talk a little bit about me before I forget. I was here for 20 years as a Ward 2 councilor, so I know the area well. I was here for almost a year and a half as a city councilor at large. So if you have any questions, let me know. I will be more than happy. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anyway,
I have one for the chair.
Councilor.
Thank you. Mr. Lopez, I had a question for you. I guess I'm looking for maybe clarification. Thank you for coming tonight. When we had the vacancy for former Councilor Shatnoff, and you presented your interest in the seat, you stated that your intention at that time was to finish that term and to not run again for council. Then when the election came, you chose to run at large and were not successful. And now you're in front of us tonight. Can you explain a little bit about why that changed? Because I think that I feel that clarification may be necessary. I'm confused as to why the change of plans not once but twice.
Let me do my best to explain. This is very personal. At the time that I came in front of the city council, I was going back and forth to Puerto Rico, my mother. I was trying to bring my mother with me. Finally, my mother came, and she passed last October, and that's why I ran. I will be honest to you, that's the only reason I can give you. And I'm planning on running for the Ward 2 seat if I'm not chosen. So I don't know if that is a good explanation, but I don't have any other explanation. All right.
Councilor Bartley, you had something?
Yeah, I just have I'm not sure if it's a point of order or not, I don't have any questions for Councilor Lopez at this point. I'm wondering if the president, the chair of the body, has, if you received an email last January 4th, I'm not going to go into the contents. If you received an email January 4th at 11:38 a.m. from a former assistant city solicitor, it was sent to me blind copy. The only name on there is David Bartley, and then Crystal Barnes, and it was from Chris Urchel. I just want to know if I just want you whether or not you can answer that, and then I just want to have a follow-up question, if I may, Mr. President. And it's relevant to this applicant. That's why I'm bringing it up now.
The email you're talking about from Chris Urchel, yes, I did receive that email.
So I have not conferred about this email with any other counselor, so I don't know I haven't polled anybody, but I just want to bring it up now, Mr. President, And I would like the president to address this, not now, because that's unreasonable, but I would like the president to address this with the law department at the president's convenience. And if the president could either report back to us in executive session, or if it's a matter of public record in public session. The email purportedly was a goodbye, thank you very much, and good luck. But then the former assistant solicitor went into a legal matter relative to Mr. Lopez. Now the bizarreness of it, to me, was pretty bald-faced, because here it is, a goodbye, good luck, God bless, and then the second paragraph, the bulk of it, 95% of the email, was relevant to something at the last minute on a Friday when he's walking out the door, when he knows we have this meeting on Tuesday, at the last minute. Now he says, I wrote this on my own, but I just want to bring up this matter to you, Councilor Bartley, and obviously Councilor McGee, and I'm thinking maybe other councilors got the same email. I can't say because blind copy. I can't, okay, thank you, Councilor Valentin. So it's a bizarreness, Mr. President, that has to be addressed by the President of this body with the Solicitor's office, possibly with the Mayor's office. I can't imagine that there are not other pending legal matters in the law department relative to the City of Holyoke that were not addressed before to this body. And yet that outgoing Assistant City Solicitor deems it, apparently in my interest and your interest and Councilor Valentin's interest, and maybe others, to bring up a matter with Councilor Lopez. A few days before a critical vote for a Ward 2 seat in which it was publicly known that Mr. Lopez was running for that seat, would be a candidate. I find that behavior to be despicable and atrocious. I, for one, am going to bring this up to the Board of Bar Overseers, and I will write a letter to the Board of Bar Overseers, and I will copy the City Council President on it. But I want the President, in his capacity, to consider, you don't have to make a promise now, Mr. President, to consider addressing this with the Law Department and with the Mayor to find out why specifically the matter with Mr. Lopez was so urgent that he had to bring it up at 11:38 a.m. on Friday, whatever that date was, January 4th, to bring it up at that exact moment. I'm not going to go between his ears. I could speculate, and I think you know why I'm speculating. But I want you to get, if you would, consider, Mr. President, getting the answer to that, because I think this is something that is. When you're in the law department and you are talking, and when you are delving into the political end of this government, there's something very wrong there, Mr. President. So I will take my action as a member in good standing of the bar association, with a licensed attorney here and in Massachusetts, by the way, here in Connecticut. But I will send a letter to the Board of Bar Overseers addressing Mr. Urchel's email.
Okay.
So, but I want you to do something similar in the City of Holyoke. Thank you, Mr. President.
With all matters that pen towards legal, especially if it's going to be something in executive session, we can call a meeting, and we will call a meeting, and at that point in time, we can address that issue as well as the other outstanding issues that we just had executive sessions on, that will take up those as well. So we'll bring up both. Councilor Sullivan.
Yeah, a question for the chair.
Yep.
Since all these court records are public knowledge, would it be unfair to just ask the applicant if there is a case pending?
I think right now we're focusing on people who are looking to interview for the Ward 2 seat and deal with that issue. As far as the other stuff, we can handle that in executive session.
Agreed.
Next up for the Ward 2 seat.
Hi, my name is Terrence Murphy from 1062 Main Street. I'm a lifetime resident, grew up in South Holyoke, and have lived in the Ingleside area most of my adult life. I put my name in to seek this position for a couple of reasons. Number one, I know your first job here is to select a person that's qualified to be the Ward 2 counselor. And I think my experience, 10 years on the council, my involvement in the city, my involvement with the schools and the community college, my involvement with recreation and the youth in the community, all give me a good background to come on and start from day one and be an asset to the people of Ward 2 and to the community as a whole. But let me just say, and this goes somewhat to what Josie just asked, I've made a commitment that if I get this, I will hold this position just until the end of this year, and I do that for 2 reasons. Number one, I know Councilor Roman had indicated to me after the last election that he was going to leave this as an open seat. I don't think he knew he was resigning a year ahead of time, but he had already told me he wasn't going to run. And I thought 2 things. Number one, that encourages more people to be candidates for the Ward 2 City Council seat, which means that our democratic process works, that we get more candidates with more diverse views, and the people get to choose their new councilor. Nothing against any of the other 3 candidates. I think there's only 3 other candidates, but should one of them get the nomination tonight or the election tonight, in effect, you have given them an advantage in the election in 2019 fall, and probably there'll be fewer people seeking the office. My speculation is if I got it, and I'm making it very clear, if I get it, I will serve just till the end of the year. I will not be a candidate for Ward 2 councilor or alderman, or not alderman, that was my old days, councilor at large. You can tell I got gray hair. But all of those kind of things, I want to see more people involved. And I know some of you have told me, yes, I think you're qualified. I'd like to get more people involved. And I understand that, but I think this is the way to get more people involved, by having an open seat, encourage people to get involved, encourage people to run for the office. The last thing I will tell you is I'm retired. I was pretty energetic when I was working at Holyoke Community College, 50-hour weeks, and coaching teams, and doing a few other things. And I still had the energy. At 70 years old, I still have energy, at least for 1 year. And I will give my full time, my full effort, my full intellect. I will meet with the people of South Holyoke, Churchill, Springdale, Ingleside. I'll walk the streets. I'll see what the problems are. I'll work with the people, and I'll work with you to solve those problems. So I'm asking for your consideration. I'm asking for your vote. Nothing against the other candidates, but I do think in this case, I give you that potential, a solid candidate plus an open seat. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else here tonight for, you step forward?
Hello, and thank you for listening. My name is Roberto Lopez. I've been a Holyoke resident for over 30 years. In 2003, I purchased a home in Oak Hill, also known as Churchill. I'd like the opportunity to serve the city of Holyoke as ward councilor. As a resident of Churchill, I have witnessed blight, drug activity, and crime. I'm very impressed with the work that Councilor LeBron Martinez has done with Crime Watch, and I would pressure the police and other city officials to do more to help us. I also believe that with proper finance planning, we can give our children the new schools they need and deserve without adding to our tax burden. In conclusion, I'd like to just say thank you for listening, and I appreciate your vote.
Thank you. Anyone else looking to be a candidate for Ward 2? If that is it.
Motion move to first ballot.
So public comment for Ward 2 is now ended. We're moving now on to the appointment to the vacancy, of which we will go backwards. And the clerk will call your name. You'll state your candidate. Once again, under the rules, you can vote for any of the people who showed up today, or you can pick anyone you want. That's the way the rules work.
Mr. President, I'm sorry.
First person to get to 7 votes will be the new Ward 2 member.
7 votes, okay.
Yeah.
I'll cut you off. Well, I do want to apologize to my good friend, Councilor Bartley, for jumping out at him. I was trying to have some fun.
I know
as
you
he
were,
does
Jim.
to my
I
to
know.
me all the time, but I do apologize.
Yeah, tonight's about you two guys. Thanks.
No, no. I know you're kidding, Jim.
Jesus.
All right, so with that, we'll go to the first ballot. Clerk will call the roll. You state the name for your candidate.
Valentine,
Marilyn Sanabria.
Anderson Burgos,
Nope, you got
Marilyn Sanabria.
You got to go reverse. You got to go vacant.
Up
Yeah,
the,
all
up
the
the
way
roster.
backwards.
Yeah,
Backwards
the
all the
whole
way.
thing backwards.
Really?
I'm sorry.
That's what we voted on.
Bottom to top.
Yeah,
Bottom to top.
List
be a
goes.
disaster.
I'm sorry. Well,
backwards.
Be
Yeah.
on your toes.
Okay. Vacant,
Diosdado Lopez.
Tallman,
Terry Murphy.
Sullivan,
Roberto Lopez.
McGiverin,
Diosdado Lopez.
McGee,
Ms. Sanabria.
Lisi,
Miss Sanabria.
That's what I meant. Sorry.
LeBron Martinez,
Ms. Sanabria.
Leahy,
Mr. Diosdado Lopez.
Bresnahan,
Terry Murphy.
Bartley,
Diosdado Lopez.
Anderson Burgos.
Marilyn Sanabria.
Move to the second. Oh, sorry.
Let the clerk tally the votes,
Yep,
please.
sorry.
4, 5, 2, 1.
I'm sorry, I miscounted. Marilyn Sanabria, 5 votes. Roberto Lopez, 1 vote. Terry Murphy, 2 votes. And Diosdado Lopez, 5 votes.
4.
4.
So with the first round, no one was successful for 7 votes.
To the second ballot.
second.
To the second ballot, clerk will call a roll, state the name again.
Valentine,
Marilyn Sanabria.
Bacon,
Diosdado Lopez.
Tallman,
Terry Murphy.
Sullivan,
Roberto Lopez.
McGiverin,
Diosdado Lopez.
McGee,
Terry Murphy.
Lisi,
Miss Sanabria.
LeBron Martinez,
Ms. Sanabria.
Leahy,
Diosdado Lopez.
Bresnahan,
Terry Murphy.
Bartley,
Diosdado Lopez.
Anderson Burgos.
Marilyn Sanabria.
Marilyn Sanabria, 4 votes. Diosdado Lopez, 4 votes. Terry Murphy, 3 votes. And Roberto Lopez, 1 vote.
Motion to go to the third ballot.
Motion
Second.
is to go to the third ballot. Clerk will call the roll, state the name.
Valentine,
Marilyn Sanabria.
Bacon,
Diosdado Lopez.
Tallman,
Terry Murphy.
Sullivan,
Roberto Lopez.
McGiverin,
Terry Murphy.
Lisi, McGee,
Terry Murphy.
Lisi,
Miss Sanabria.
Leahy,
Mr. Terry Murphy.
Leahy.
That's me.
Oh, yeah,
You
sorry.
missed LeBron, I think.
Terry Murphy.
LeBron Martinez,
Sanabria.
Bresnahan,
Murphy.
Bartley,
Terry Murphy.
Anderson Burgos.
Marilyn Sanabria.
Marilyn Sanabria, 4 votes. Diosdado Lopez, 1 vote. Terry Murphy, 6 votes. And Roberto Lopez, 1 vote.
Motion to go to the fourth
Second.
ballot.
Motion is to go to the fourth ballot. Clerk will call the roll, vote, state your name.
Valentine,
Marilyn Sanabria.
Bacon,
Diosdado Lopez.
Tallman,
Terry Murphy.
Sullivan,
Terry Murphy.
McGiverin. McGee,
Terry Murphy.
Lisi,
Terry Murphy.
LeBron Martinez,
Sanabria.
Leahy,
Mr. Terry Murphy.
Bresnahan,
Murphy.
Bartley,
Terry Murphy.
Anderson Burgos,
Terrence Murphy.
Marilyn Sanabria, 2 votes, Diosdado Lopez, 1 vote, and Terry Murphy, 10 votes. 9 votes.
9 votes.
9
Your
votes.
vote, you approve Terry Murphy to fill the ward seat and finish out the term for former Councilor Nelson Robin.
Coming in and
Mr. Murphy, if you'd like, he can come in.
I'm really serious. I really need you to be out and really.
Mr. Murphy, if you'd like, you can come in and be sworn in.
Where are you going? You got the water commissioners.
no, not tonight, next week. Next week.
Hey, how you doing? What's the latest? What about the street? That's pretty well. Those are good kids.
Hey, correct.
Mr. President, may I make a quick announcement before we adjourn?
Yes, Mr. Councilor Sullivan has something?
Yes, and especially for Councilor McGiverin, I'd like to take note that I am no longer the oldest councilor on the...
So just a point of order before we adjourn. With the new member being appointed, I will have to fill the vacancies for the seats, of which there was a chair position for Chair of Charter and Rules. I know Nelson was covering 3 committees, while everyone else pretty much covered 2, just the way the numbers worked out. So I'll be reaching out to people with regards to the Chair of Charter and Rules in order to fill the seat. I will hopefully get that within the end of the week, so that way the committees can just keep running as normal. With that, be a motion to adjourn. All those in favor? All those opposed? We stand adjourned till the 15th.
15?